Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today I've got a quick review for you. We're going to take a look at a micro-sized pistol from Sig Sauer. This is the P938. This channel is proud to be supported by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Make sure you check that link in the description box, become a member, get that membership card, and donate when you can. And Spartan Arms in North Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're ever in Las Vegas, make sure you check out Spartan Arms. Let them know the Daily Shooter sent you. Okay, so the Sig Sauer P938. This is the bigger brother of the Sig P938. The 238 is chambered in .380. The 938 is chambered in 9mm. Now, in full disclosure, this is my wife's pistol. This is what she's going to be using for concealed carry. This is what she's been practicing with all the time. She absolutely loves it. I got a chance to shoot it several times, and I love it as well. It really is a great pistol, but you're going to see some stuff on here that might look a little bit different than what you're normally used to seeing on this channel. So let's go and open it up, and I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like here if we can get the box to open. So you can see here we have our 938. Now this one right here is a little bit different than some of the other models that are on the market. There's probably more than a dozen 938s that are available. Black on black, silver on black, silver on silver. You can even get the Emperor, which is in flat dark earth with black. I mean, different Hogue grips and stuff like that. So there is a lot of variations of this pistol right here, but she really liked the brushed metal on the top and then the black on the bottom. This one has the black wood grips on it. And you can see that she's added some chameleon screws to the grip panels. Just gives it a little bit of extra flair for her. She likes it, and that's cool. Now, when you get the 938, at least this particular model, it only comes with one 6-round magazine. So that's kind of one of the downsides here. Obviously, you're going to spend a little bit of money because this is kind of a Sig 1911 style pistol, and they tend to be a little bit more expensive. So only coming with one 6-round magazine is kind of a bummer to me, but I was surprised to find out that these magazines aren't super expensive. As a matter of fact, a lot of other Sig Sauer magazines cost significantly more than this one, so we were able to buy her an additional magazine just a little bit later on. This is a factory Sig magazine that I got her right here. This one holds 7 rounds, and it has the Peaky extension, but this did not come with the original purchase. So let's go ahead and set this back here. We'll go ahead and take the pistol out so I can show you guys what it looks like here. Now, obviously, you get your other stuff like your lock and your chamber flag and everything else, your paperwork with it. But this is what it looks like right here. This is a micro pistol from Sig Sauer. It is very small. It is lightweight. As a matter of fact, by the stats at least, this is lighter than the Glock 43, but very, very similar in size to the Glock 43. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the tech specs, details, and features of the 938 if this is something that you guys are looking at for yourself. And we'll also talk about some of the variations that are out there as well. Okay, so let's get some of those boring stats out of the way so I can talk to you guys a little bit more about what I think of the pistol and what she thinks of the pistol if you're buying this for your daughter or your wife, girlfriend, whatever the case is, and kind of get a woman's perspective on it as well. So what we're looking at here is a 9mm pistol. This is a micro compact, as I was saying before, from Sig. It is completely metal, so the frame and the slide are all metal. We have some nice black wood Hogue grips on here. You can see that, again, she upgraded the screws on the grips just to give it a little bit of an extra flair right there. It is hard coat anodized nitron, stainless steel slide. This is single action only, so it's hammer fired, single action only. This is about 3 inches in the barrel length, and then you're looking at an overall length about 5.9 inches. The overall width is going to be 1.1 and the height is 3.9 inches. Now what's interesting is this thing has a listed weight of 16 ounces. If you look up the listed weight of the Glock 43, which has a stainless steel slide and then a polymer frame, the Glock 43 comes in at 17.95 ounces, I believe. So you're looking at almost a 2-ounce increase from the Sig 938 to the Glock 43. So I was actually kind of surprised to find out that the Glock 43 is a little bit heavier. Now that might actually be a good thing because when it comes to little pistols like this, weight is always kind of a benefit, and that's because these little pistols can be kind of snappy. So when you add a little bit of extra weight, they can feel a little bit nicer in your hands when you shoot them. Now, like I was saying before, there's probably a dozen different variations of the 938. They even make one that is the Scorpion. The Scorpion 938 is pretty much the exact same, except that it's in flat dark earth, it has rubber hoe grips, and the barrel is actually threaded on the Scorpion. They even make a Legion, and then a bunch of different models with different color variations and so forth. This particular one right here, again with the black on the stainless slide, does come with some really nice fiber optic sights. One thing I like about these sights is that, and I know this is going to be a little bit difficult to see on camera, is that that front green dot is extremely visible. So basically what they did on the front right here, so we have the standard fiber optic sights in the rear, so it's a 3-dot pattern. And on the front what they did is they actually put a big green ring around the fiber optic filament tube itself. So we have the green ring and the fiber optic, so it really pops out at you. I mean, that thing really shines. When you're out on a nice, bright, sunny day, these things are just staring at you, and it's very easy to pick up that front sight post. That's really important for a concealed carry pistol because obviously you're going to be, under pressure, you're going to be stressed out, the adrenaline's running, you got a lot going through your mind, you're trying to process a ton in a matter of a second. And so, finding that front sight post should be the least of your worries, but, it's one of the toughest things to do under pressure. So finding that front sight post or having that front sight post being so nice and large and easy to see just kind of takes away one of those stresses from a situation like that. So I really like these sights quite a bit. Again, single action only, hammer fired. This thing does have actually some extra internal safeties as well. So if you're somebody who's a little bit concerned about carrying cocked and locked, and maybe that's not something that you felt comfortable with in the past, this has something that's very similar to what you're going to find on semi-automatic striker fire pistols. There is, well, in a striker fire pistol, it would be a striker block. It is a little pin that's located inside that keeps the striker from going forward and making contact with the back of the primer. But this one right here actually has the same thing, but it stops that firing pin from going forward even if the hammer drops without you pulling the trigger. So there is a mechanism on the inside, and when you pull that trigger, it moves forward and actually releases that little button right there, moving that button out of the way, or the pin out of the way, allowing the hammer to, or the firing pin to come forward and make contact with the primer. If you don't pull on that trigger, then that thing does not release that safety mechanism, and so even if the hammer were to fall forward, it's going to stop that firing pin. So that's one of the things I really like. Even if you were to get something, let's say, lodged in between the hammer itself, so if we have this thing, take off the safety here first. So if we have this thing cocked back, you can actually still see the firing pin on the inside right there. If something was to fall and just by chance got in there and actually struck that thing, with that block, since you're not pulling on the trigger, with that block, it's going to keep that firing pin from going forward. So I do like the additional safety feature. This does not have typical 1911 style beaver tail safety on it, so there's nothing like that, which is great. I hate those beaver tail safeties, but still, it does have that nice internal safety to kind of add a little bit of peace of mind for people who just don't like carrying that way, but maybe want to give it a shot. Now, the 938 does have a stainless steel guide rod, so it kind of kept with that entire theme of being all steel and no polymer construction. So stainless steel guide rod. Now let's go ahead and talk about how this thing fits in your hand. And it's a little bit difficult to show at the angle that I'm in. We'll see if I can kind of move over here so I can show you guys. But with the magazine inserted, this thing sits totally flush, okay? So with the magazine inserted, it doesn't get any longer. But if I give it a good grip, you can see that my two fingers right here hold on to it, and there is no extra space at the bottom right here at all. My pinky just kind of slides off the bottom. What I would do in this situation is I just take my pinky, kind of follow the other ones, and then when I bring my grip up like this, I hold on to that extra pinky, and I just give it a nice grip like this when I'm shooting, and that really helps kind of hold everything in place. So I can shoot with it just fine, but it is a little bit poppy, a little bit snappy, and so having that additional pinky space would be nice. If that's something that you want, obviously you can buy the additional magazine, and the magazine with the 7-round capacity, that one does give me enough space for my pinky, so you can see the extra space right there. Let me try and turn awkwardly again. And then my pinky does wrap around the entire thing. So it gives me a much better purchase, a much better grip on this pistol, and believe it or not, it does help me be a little bit more accurate. Not much, but maybe it's just the confidence thing, knowing that I have my whole hand on it. Either way, with that little extension right there, I think that would fit most people's hands unless you got big bear paws. One thing I should note is that when she shoots this pistol, even though she does have smaller hands than I do, and she can get a little bit better purchase on this grip right here, it does feel pretty snappy for her. So at first, when she started shooting this, it kind of made her a little bit uncomfortable. You know, it was one of those things where she had to get used to how poppy it was. You know, one mistake a lot of people make is they start women off on a smaller gun because they think, hey, smaller woman, smaller gun, right? That's not always the case. Bigger guns being heavier and longer and, you know, having extended slides and stuff like that put the weight towards the end of the gun really help tamp down a lot of that recoil and a lot of that poppiness that you would feel out of a standard 9mm. I mean, a regular 9mm or Glock 17 or something like that, even a 9mm chamber, you know, 1911, those are going to be a lot softer shooting than this because they're so much bigger. So don't make the mistake of buying your wife something like this just because you feel that it's smaller and she's a smaller person, so she needs a smaller gun. That's not always the thing. She's gotten used to it since, and she absolutely loves it. I mean, it's just a great shooting gun. We both shoot really nice and accurate with it, and it's ate up all the ammunition that I put through it so far. Everything from standard, Federal, Champion, to Aguila, to Fiocchi, even some off brands that we've picked up here and there, Tulamo Brass Max, and, you know, regular range stuff. Hollow points, everything from well, actually, we've shot quite a few hollow points through this, but I would say that the one that we've shot the most is going to be Hornady Critical Defense. That's the one that she plans on carrying with this, so that's the ammunition that we've shot the most out of. But we've used Critical Duty and some other stuff, 135 grain and so forth, and it's worked perfectly fine. Like I said, I've never had a single issue with this pistol. It is really nice looking. It deep conceals. I mean, when you put this thing in a holster and if you're somebody who wears somewhat tight shirts, I mean, this thing will still pretty much disappear. You know, unless you're a lady wearing spandex or something, it might show up. But for the most part, this thing is so small that it's just gone. I mean, we can compare it real quick to my Glock 26, which is one of the pistols that I really like to carry. And you can see how much larger the Glock 26 is. And the Glock 26 is a subcompact gun. You know, Glock 26, 3.3-inch barrel. You know, it's fairly short. One thing I should note is that if you're looking at the Glock 26, let's go ahead and take the magazine out of the Glock 26, and we put these two on top of each other, just like that. That the Glock 26 and the Sig are pretty much identical in the overall height. So from where we line up the two slides to where the grip is, I mean, it's very, very minimal. The 26 is maybe like a 1/16 of an inch longer than this right here. Obviously, when we talk about overall length and we kind of back this thing up back to back right there, you can see that the overall length between the 26 and this pistol right here is pretty significant. So you have the extra trigger guard space right here, and then you have the extra barrel length and so forth. So yeah, I mean, you know, size-wise, you can see how small this thing is. Now, there is one downside to this pistol, and one downside that just kind of kills me. From what I've heard from people who have experienced the same problem, which I believe is quite a few, it does get better over time, but still we have not experienced that. And that is that reinserting a magazine is a pain in the butt. The magazine stops right there. So you take a magazine, you can see that, you know, even with a significant amount of force, it does not go back in. You have to put it in, seat it, and then smash that thing home. Either that, or what you can do is you can actually hold down the mag release, put that thing in, and then release the mag release. But other than that, yeah, you really got to slam that thing home in order to get it to seat. That was one thing that is kind of a pain in the butt. And that goes for both magazines, not just the one that I bought later on. If we take the original magazine right here, and I'll show you guys, we'll go ahead and put this magazine in. And again, same thing. You can see that it just kind of hits right there. So you have to, at least for now, until it, you know, levels out a little bit, you have to train through that. Put the magazine in, slam that thing home, and then you're good to go, or, you know, kind of use the magazine release, something like that. But still, that is the one downside that's kind of driven me nuts. Either way, I think it's a great pistol. It shoots well, it's very nice and ergonomic, it's really nice looking, it's great for super deep concealed carry because it's micro. It's still chambered in a caliber that I like for self-defense, 9mm. I'm one of those guys who personally thinks 9mm is the best millimeter, and that's all there is to it. I mean, for carry, for deep carry, obviously there's, you know, larger rounds that might have more energy and so forth, but in a micro-sized gun, a deep carry gun, if you can get it in 9mm, millimeter, that's the way I would go personally. Nonetheless, it really is a great pistol. We both like it a lot. So if you're looking at this for yourself and you're looking at one of the variations, or you're looking at this for your wife, I just really don't think you can go wrong. The Sig P938 is a great little pistol. Anyway, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and have a great day.